When Dr. Litz saved his own life, he made himself quite a few enemies. The man's decision was to defect the side of his country's greatest adversary in the great face of capture during the Third Great Resource War caused quite a stir at home. The assassination didn't take long. Naturally, they found him in a secluded lab on the countryside, surrounded by unfinished experimental tech. Or rather, they didn't find him, just a teleportation device in his chambers and its last registered instruction. Distance, 6 feet, direction, straight down. Tainted Love was playing faintly from a nearby nightclub when I slit my friend's throat in his truck. It was an accident, except not really. That's what I told the police, though. 10 years later, fresh out of prison, I'm driving my car down a busy street, listening to some tunes on the radio. There is a caller segment, and I suddenly hear his voice. "Hey Davey, this one's for you, buddy." Without a warning, Tainted Love blasts through my speakers so loud that I couldn't hear the wail of the incoming truck's horn as it plows into my side. "Mommy, do you want to try out the new time machine?" Kate smiled down at her beaming daughter, covered in glitter and silvery paints. "Sure, sweetie pie." She lowered herself onto all fours and crawled into the box's opening. Looking ahead, she was sure that its end seemed to be a lot further away from once she was inside it. She shuffled towards the strangely bright opening, eventually emerging. That was once their living room was now a vast valley of greenery. Kate's face turned to one of awe and terror as she swooped up by a pterodactyl. This dude hasn't stopped staring at me throughout this whole lecture. I have no idea why, because I'm really paying attention, just like everyone else here. Still, it's getting kind of distracting. He's got this odd look on his face, excitement mixed with deportation and doubt, like he wants to talk to me but can't quite muster the courage. Frickin' weirdo. Then I leave the lecture hall and seeing the topic of discussion on the board, it all becomes blindly apparent, and I laugh and rolled my eyes, making sure I'm within this line of sight as I demonstrate. It appeared briefly, without a warning, a field that was empty, but a few days of the year. Spiral sharp pinwheel stripes slanted upwards towards a triangular flag, gleaming in garnished crimson. No one was ever seen putting it up, nor taking it down, and it was never quite the same shape as it was when you last saw it. There was no advertisement. The only way you knew it was near was by the echo of the ceaseless coronations, which upon being heard would conjure one signature thought in mind. The circus is in town. "Hey dude, that evil wizard who hates you cast another spell. He said whatever you say is literal now. You know, like Amelia Bedella." "Nah, I'm not falling for that one again. You're full of shit, man." John watching horror as his friend collapsed, feces leaking out of every pore. Dead zones are an interesting concept in the space travel. Theoretically, if you travel far enough out to the void, the rate at which the universe is expanding will outspace the speed you can move. Basically, you become trapped in a bubble of nothingness, never being able to go anywhere ever again, only getting further away from everything over time. Even if you traveled far, you never reach anywhere. Like I said, an interesting concept. I've got a rest of eternity to think about it, and why I thought it was a good idea to nap on autopilot without an alarm. Abigail's mother's knife misses her by a fraction of an inch. Moonlight illustrates her sleeping face. Eyes closed, head tilted back. She swings again, and Abigail runs into another part of the house. The cycle repeats until the morn, when the safety was restored. Julia sees the darkened rings around her daughter's eyes and knows that she has not been sleeping. She takes her to Dr. Oswald, who prescribes her a bottle of pills. That night, the last thing Abigail sees before drifting off is the glint of her dormant mother's knife as she creeps into her bedroom. The scariest night of my life was on a cozy September evening. Lying on a sofa, my stomach rumbled, prompting me to retrieve a snack from the kitchen. I opened the fridge and my mind froze. I simply stared with the buggy eyes and the depicted head on the middle of shelf its face contorted into the most twisted grimace I've ever seen. I couldn't sleep for weeks. Afterwards, even now, years on, I still shiver just thinking about the experience. Out of all the severed heads I have unmasked over the years, none of them ever had smiled once. I'm peeling a potato. It's quite a large potato, with large blemishes and imperfections that need removing. You know how people say that their mothers always are better at peeling potatoes than them? It's kind of the same with me. Kinda. Anyway, I'm peeling this potato and I'm nearly finished. There are just a little spots left to go. I have to make sure I get all of them, or this will all be for nothing. Done. Now I just have two things left to worry about: the blood loss and when the painkillers start wearing off. There's something about working in this nursing home that's been bothering me for a while. It escaped until recently. I've finally realized no one's ever seemed to get any older. Not the residents, not the rest of the staff, nobody. Andrew must have known it was weighing on me, because today he took me upstairs to the door that never gets unlocked. Once it was open, we walked out onto the roof. A scorched, empty earth surrounded us, reduced to rubble. We headed back inside soon after, and I don't ask any more questions. The art show has been a great success. Citrus has lauded Marcus's intelligent strokes and nonsense color usage, his portrayal of emotion, particularly distress. His works were fetching tens and thousands of dollars, and that the money was sent towards his funding his new extravagant lifestyle. Back at home, he takes a bucket of slop, mainly food waste, and he descends into the basement of his house. The creature is chained up there. It roars as it sustains he carries. Marcus distributes it across the floor, and retrieves the newly coated vessel from the center of the room. "Exquisite," he declares, smiling widely. "I never liked being an FBI agent. I never liked having to monitor suspect terrorists' webcams, observing their every moment through their yawns and endless caffeine. I liked it even less when they were all beginning to look at the camera and screaming." Felix approached John with an annoying smug look, with a bowling ball held against his waist. "Hey dipshit, I just beat your high score with a perfect 300. What do you think about that? Blow it out of your ass." John heard an agonizing scream and then a loud pop, followed by a slumping of Felix's body to the floor. He considered turning to look, but decided against it. Spirits are fragile things. A simple glance from an ordinary human will almost always be enough to dispel them for a short time. Anyway, that's why they like to hang out in the corners of the night, where the psychic effect is not as strong. It's like a game to them, seeing how close they can get. A lot of blind people don't live alone, but if the ones that do see, they would be driven mad. So be thankful for your vision, and keep in mind that I said almost always. Kevin the Flea was hopelessly lost, and his partner Dan had been wandering throughout the maze of incessant body hair for days. Strangely, the thick black strands that surrounded them seemed to have warped into an endless arrangement of walls and corridors. It was almost impossible to make sense of. "Let's see," said Kevin, pulling out a map. "We're not in the armpit and can't be the leg, not too far from the face." Dan suddenly clamped his legs to shut his face in horror. "Kev," he spoke, "you're not going to like this, but I think we're in the back rooms. Francesca sleeps in the well at the edge of the garden. I don't know her real name, so that's what I'm calling her. It's a beautiful name, isn't it? Beautiful name for a beautiful girl. I hope she comes up with me sometime. I have seen her plenty. She's a picture of grace, but she won't talk to me. I talk to her. I go to see her in the mornings and toss down some food and add a little wine now and then. Maybe one day I'll go down there. Maybe she'll look less pale from up here." James awoke to find his body in the garden. He rushed outside and knelt by the beast. It was a huge, foul thing, and it was waking up. 2 white dots, housed with its skull powering on. "Where is your god?" it asked him. James stammered to point a finger towards the sky. The thing rose to his feet and launched itself upwards out of sight. James awoke the next day, feeling like a corpse. He spent the entire day sitting at the end of his bed, staring up at the whole clouds through his bedroom window. Darkness enclosing me. My camp lies nearby, but I can't tell where the suffocating black. I'm grasping at the air, waiting, hoping that my sense of direction will return to me. The slaps of my feet against the concrete are accompanied by stifled panting. The second set of last breaths is close out of my sink of my own, much more frantic and then uncontrolled. I stop and sniff the air. It is caked with the sickly stench of sewage, but that ordinary and unfamiliar scent hides behind the facade of rot. While still dirty and rancid, it is still very much alive. I live in an area with ravens. They are smart animals. Apparently befriended them, and they'll repay you with coins, bottle caps, and random bits of whatever they can find. I hate ravens, though. I have done that since I was little. They're harbingers of death. They took my family away from me. That's why they recruited the help of some unsavory powers. I guess you could sum it up like this. Some people have birds that bring them dead things. I have a thing that brings me dead birds. There's a voice in my head that tells me he's a completely different person. Says his name is Emil, and that he's lived in London for just over 20 years, and that he's not supposed to be here with me. He begs and pleads with me to help him all the time, nonstop. I know his address, all the people claims he knows basically everything about him at this point. It's unsufferable at times, but I know from experience that it won't last forever. I can't wait for him to realize that he'll never actually leave his body. My son runs out to the garden. He kicks away the discarded Amazon package and starts sprouting off some conspiracy nonsense, as per usual. Something about this invasion of invisible alien spaceships here to enslave us. Thank God I'm losing my hearing. Not like it matters much. I'm so happy playing by my own drone, and that I almost didn't notice it bounced off the portion of the sky. It is the strangest thing, you know. As of late, we've all started seeing these weird entities in each other's cubicles. I did say this job drove us mad, but I didn't mean it literally. Craig's got the clown that is pretty harmless. Harry's got his anthropomorphic lizard. They can see their own cities for whatever reason. None of us. That's probably for the best for me. My name is Victor, and apparently I have this fuzzy, gelatinous blob with bulging eyes. They tell me that it gets a little closer every day. Let's just hope I get laid off soon. I was homeless one day. 2 men in suits came up to me and asked if I was interested in making some money. They took me in this weird facility and gave me a VR headset. It was a simulation of being homeless. In the simulation, 2 men in suits came up and asked me if I was interested in making money. They took me to this weird facility, and I have no idea how many layers deep I am now. I hope that next time I have the courage to tell them no. Don't you think this format is getting kinda old? Yumi the jockey said to John. Kinda. I suppose at this point, we are beating a dead horse. Yumi screamed as suddenly they found themselves by the side of their deceased stallion Jupiter, lead pipes in hand. John silently, awkwardly leaves the barn and knelt by his animal's side and wept. It's been almost 80 days since we've been in the sun of Antarctica. It is getting tougher every year, but some of us handled it better than others. Theodore, our boss, is one of those people. He's a hardly kind of guy, ready for anything. The only thing he can't bear is the smell of Alexander's garlic curry. He's superstitious too. When he's out on an expedition, he'll never enter the base without letting someone in from the inside. It's peculiar but harmless, I guess. He must have had some difficult work for us, because he said we'd be feeling drained soon.
What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Ms. Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, Stay pretty.